All right, so I think I might be a little late to this discussion, but there certainly was some news that popped up that basically was saying that the regions that got access to the early access, they're going to be ultimately on the same server as whenever it releases for global. I personally think this is pretty problematic. They say that they're going to do things in order to catch the people up that will be starting with the actual global release, but I guess like where does the line get drawn? I am very skeptical that they'll be able to catch people up in comparison to people that have been playing pretty hardcore for the 2 months in advance. Obviously, yes, this means that the people that VPN'd and are starting off early are about 2 months ahead. Um, and I think that maybe even there's potential like specific like implications in terms of what they say they're catching people up with. Can they really pull it off? And in what ways can they do that? I think that, of course, once it releases for global, they'll probably do like a gold increase. They'll probably do an experience increase to help, like, with those sorts of power spikes as you're doing the story. But then other things to consider is maybe this is just a super early case of like power creep. So maybe once global releases, it releases alongside some hunters that are just significantly better than the ones that were, released whenever the early access hit. So that could be a concern for people even playing the early access is maybe you do want to save some pulls for whenever the global release hits. There might just be a silver lining, of course, with what they're saying. So that's why I'm a little skeptical, or maybe I'm concerned that there might be better options in terms of gacha pulling for whenever the global release actually hits. You guys will have to let me know what you think. I think it's definitely silly that they're just going to merge it all into one server. I think anybody that has played other gacha games know that this is definitely a probably a very poor choice. I know as of recent, like the Black Clover mobile one, they gave early access to Canada, but the servers were separate, and it was good because then players knew ahead of time like what the banners were gonna be. So it's just gonna be really interesting to see like how that plays out or like how it's gonna affect banners and all that stuff. But of course, you'll just have to let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I know people have had mixed opinions, but I think if you've played, gotchas before, that you're probably going to be fairly skeptical about this decision as a whole. But we'll have to let them sort of cook and let them see what they do with it, and maybe it ends up being not so bad. But I think I'm going into it a little bit skeptical. And to be fair, I wasn't even really playing solo leveling a ton, like super grinding it out because I knew that there was going to be a global release and that I would basically be starting over. But with this news, I decided to play a little bit more despite a few of like the bugs, and like really the big thing for me was the game freezing after missions. But I heard that I guess a potential fix to this is to not try to click through at the very end of a battle, which may be what's causing the freezing, which it has worked out for me because I was freezing really, really frequently, like almost after every mission, but now it's like only once every so often. So yeah, we are definitely going to try to play catch up with people that started day one and have been grinding pretty hard. And I think that we'll just have to wait and see what global release is like.